I'm going to talk about the art as a new model in learning science. Let us know, what is science? Do you think it is just formulas and theories which explain phenomena? Or another thought may come to your mind is solving problems that are hard to read or understand. Here in gravity, while massive balls are rolling on a stretched membrane, and it is investigated if the gravitational constant can be measured in such a world. What do you think? What is art? Do you think it is music? Painting? Or other thing as shown here?
About to
Yes, how to do it.
number of minutes has to be applied.
Look at.
It says there
No,
a certain number of minutes has to be applied to the time shown by the dial.
Because it's for
These minutes are given for beginning and middle of each month.
okay, good.
As we know, the main and important challenge in education is getting students to study effectively, even under difficult circumstances. Students' interests and attitudes are critical aspects of science education, so curriculum and instruction should guide learning toward understanding and fulfilling basic human needs. In this flowchart, the components of active learning, which is based on conceptual understanding, is explained. Students can get depth knowledge and go through the reasoning by themselves, but teachers with innovation in teaching will motivate them to get new idea and invention. In earlier times, nature was the laboratory of scientists such as Aristotle, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. It was their source of inspiration which laid the foundation of much of the modern physics and mathematics. You know, Leonardo da Vinci was the most influential artist in history who lived in a golden age of creativity. His masterpieces and inventions were both in science and art. He built one of the world's first robot using um, some systems of pulleys and cables, and his robot was able to sit, stand, and move its arm, which was completely different from the newer robots you can see at this time. In fact, introducing art as the way to study science would not only allow students to understand the core of science as creativity, but it will also allow them to better learn scientific concepts and rules. Oftentimes, the ability to visualize and imagine certain processes is important to solving scientific problems. So, the reason why art is necessary to science is because things we are able to imagine in our mind are things we can also create. Now, the role of imagination in science and art. We know art and imagination in science education promote conceptual understanding. Imagination is a key to bring dreams into reality, which by mixing what scientific ideas can be used in research project. For example, Do you know what are the fractals? Fractals is a self-similar geometrical object with a fractal dimensions. Fractal in physics, in biology, in art. Fractals often occur in chaotic systems. We know a fractal is a geometric object, but chaos in physics is a dynamical attribute. You can find fractals here in physics, in snowflakes. You can see the hexagonal symmetry of a snowflake arises from hexagonal symmetry in its lattice of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. The other one in biology, it shows the growth of an organism such as arterial system of a kidney or plant such as broccoli. But what happened in art? Fractal in artistic shape is seen in molten tin here, but in artistic work as shown here, molten tin solidifies in a pattern of tree-shaped crystals called dendrites as it cools under controlled circumstances. So you can find that fractals are seen both in science and art. Students of the 21st century are very different from the students of the past. As the flowchart was shown in previous slides, this requires educators to think continuously about how to change their teaching to empower and engage them. And it is the opportunity for students to express their thoughts and feelings in different fields through the creative in art. Here you may find assembling of open and closed tubes and characteristic of sound waves in these invented instruments, which was presented in one of the best conference for young scientists, IZADI 2012 in the Netherlands. We know to develop high-level skills as decision-making, socializing, and creativity, students can be educated to make their own models. So, how to develop high-level skills in solving problems? First of all, think about the problem, then suggest a typical idea, and you should make a hypothesis. And by building an apparatus with your imagination, you can do your experiments and find all the related parameters should be investigated, and show all art are used in solving scientific problems too. Finally, analyze and interpret your results in your conclusion. Such as this problem, which was presented in one of the most important competitions in physics, IBPT, and was awarded by our institute as the Year of Light Prize, as announced by the European Physical Society. When a laser beam is aimed at a wire, a circle of light can be observed here. Some of the greatest discoveries in science have used some form of art. Here some experimental setups and artistic photos and videos have been selected from different national and international tournaments. In physics, a soap film in an electric field rotates in its plane here. This project is in biology, which has been presented in IMSF 2020 with gold medal, and these photos have been taken from the microscope, and research has been published in our international journal too as a given award. Diagnosis and treatment of post-child deformities by analyzing data was other project in computer science, which was presented in ICYS 2018 in Belgrade and received gold medal too. The other problem is in physics. It says if a high voltage is applied to a fluid in two beakers which are connected to each other, a fluid bridge may be formed. Students should investigate the phenomena and all related parameters. Although it was really difficult to do the experiments, but Team Iran received gold medal in IYPT 2012 in Germany in physics tournament with attractive and artistic photos, and also the video of this presentation. Next one is the effect of different salts on onion cell structure. This problem have some photos from the microscope and was presented in the junior tournaments as natural sciences in national and international sections. Next problem is lagging pendulum. When a pendulum starts to move along a horizontal circumference, the bob starts tracing a circle, and we can find an attractive photos of the motion in a circle here, which has been simulated, and then these photos have been taken. Interesting waves by a long string of beads when is released from a beaker. Another project in physics. Which was presented in international tournament too. Here you may observe different liquids are injected through the hole, and different patterns are observed in different liquids. Now these are some slides to show the science behind art. Art as a way to study science would not only allow students to understand the core of science is creativity, but it will also allow them to better learn scientific concepts and rules. These are two artistic works from two different artists. One of them is worm holes, and the other one is the intersection of light, space and time. In this slide, you can consider Windcatcher as an architectural building. Wind towers catch the breeze. A Windcatcher is an architectural building used for many years and for many centuries to create natural ventilation in buildings. The function of this tower is to catch cooler breeze that prevail at a higher level above the ground and to direct it into the interior of the buildings. Burjardiha House in central Iran was built in 1857, was one of these buildings to save energy. Chogazambil Temple in Ziggurat is another architectural building in Iran. What shocks one in this building is it was a portable water treatment system and constructed on an accepted scientific principles. The water was treated by passing through various layers of sands with certain of salts and lime to bactericides, and then treated water was transmitted to smaller basins through 9 narrower channels from under the main reservoir. The system adopted the communicating vessels law. It means a building reaching heavens. And Pasargad Palace in Shiraz, which is the oldest imperial capital city of the world, and there were a central hall, 4 vands on 4 sides of the hall, and 2 rooms on both sides of its southern even. The whole floor was paved with marbles. A central hall with columns have been built, such as observed with the incredible height within a specific distance from each other. We believe that education, creativity, and empathy will strengthen any community. Students should take an active role in both their own development and that of those around them by constructing mental images and building models. Now we know there is no border between science and art. As it is observed, an artistic and scientific toy. Tip Top as a toy was a physics puzzle that fascinated at least 2 Nobel Prize winners, Wolfgang Pauli and Niels Bohr. They are observing the Tip Top in this photo. How does a lateral spinning motion push a top upwards? This question absorbed several brilliant and famous minds. Or attractive motions and some oil in a constant high voltage between a needle and the plate which oil is on it. So there is no border between art and science. Now what do you think? Which one is art and which one is science? Brain cells and cluster of galaxies are similar to each other, or in other part in right hand, the lens and color rings, which actually is made from the water inside the glass and the paper with several color rings behind it. or here.
It's wool. It's
Silkworms. Brown silk, panworm cup. It was what men collected the cup.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And Hoy the service.
And you are weaving?
Weaving, yes.
Yeah. It's so good.
Now it's the time for you. Ring the bell, change your mind, and think more curiosity about art in your science projects. Good luck.